Hello everyone, welcome once again to Learn Mathematics. This is Rekha Chabra, your maths teacher. Students, I hope you all are doing good and learning mathematics through my YouTube videos. So please don't forget to like, share and subscribe this channel and post your comments after watching the complete video. Today we are going to start with a new topic, integrals, chapter number 7, which is a part of calculus. In today's video lecture, we will understand the meaning of integration or antiderivative. We will see the geometric representation and its basic understanding, and then we will discuss few questions of exercise 7.1. So let's start. Students, calculus is basically divided into two parts. One is differential calculus, other is integral calculus. Differential calculus we have already done in chapter number 5 and 6, and today we are going to start with integral calculus. It actually helps us in calculating the area of region bounded by the graph of function as shown in this figure. Right? It is also useful in volume, central points and many other things. The functions that could possibly have given functions as a derivative are called antiderivative or primitive of the function, and again the formula that gives all these antiderivatives is called indefinite integrals of the function, and such process of finding antiderivative is called integration. These are the two problems basically we have to deal. The problem of finding a function whenever its derivative is given, and another problem of finding the area bounded by the graph of a function under certain conditions. Integration is the inverse process of differentiation. Like we have addition and subtraction, multiplication and division, same way differentiation and integration are also inverse processes of each other. The process of finding a function whose differential coefficient means derivative is known is called integration, and that's how we can write it, and we call it as antiderivative, right? Or integral also, and we can write down like this: inverse, or I would say the reverse process of this differentiation is integration. So if the derivative of fx is small fx, so definitely integration of this small fx will be this capital Fx, right? And this is the notation, this is the symbol of integration. Then again, integration is divided into two parts. One is indefinite integral, other is definite integral. Indefinite integrals of a function are functions that differ from each other by a constant. For example, x square by 2 is known, plus c, which is something unknown, right? So here in the graph also we keep this portion open because this much area we know, but after that there is something which is going to add that we don't know. And at the same time, definite integrals are fixed numbers. Here we know the limits. Like here we have to find the integration we have to do from 0 to 1 or from a to b. We have to integrate the function only from here to here, or we can say from x1 to x2, from y1 to y2, and we call these numbers as limits, upper limit and lower limit. And these definite integrals gives us the proper definite number as answer. Now we know that d by dx of any function is equal to fx, then integral of this function will be equal to capital Fx. But for any arbitrary constant c, d by dx means derivative of fx plus c is also going to be small fx. Why? Because derivative of constant will be 0. So we can say that when we integrate this function, we are going to write capital Fx plus c, which is something unknown to us. It is that constant. For example, if I ask you what is the derivative of x power 4, then you will answer me 4x cube. But what is the derivative of x power 4 plus 2? Same answer. If I say x power 4 plus 9, then also same answer. But if I integrate these functions 4x cube, then what am I going to get? I'm going to get only x power 4. What about these constants? So that's why we have to add this c also. This is constant of integration. Look at these examples. If I take these four functions, the thing that we just discussed on the last slide, and I take the derivative, in each case derivative is going to be 2x. But if I integrate this 2x, I am going to get x square only, right? But where these three functions will go then. So this is the reason we have to add that capital C also while integrated in indefinite integrals. This is the geometric interpretation. Look at this graph, students. If I make a graph y equal to x square, it is like this. Then if I make a graph of x square plus 1, x square plus 1, this 1 shows the y-intercept, means this graph will intersect y-axis at 1. So the graph is this. Then y equal to x square plus 2, the graph is this. If I go to negative side of y-axis and I take x square minus 1, then it will intersect y-axis at minus 1, then minus 2 here. Now if I draw tangents at these points A, B, C, D, E, what am I going to get? I'm going to get the same slope because all these lines are parallel, and parallel lines will always have same slope. And now if you find out the derivative of all these functions, you are going to get 2x only. 2x, here also 2x, here also 2x, and in these two functions also. Right? So basically we can say indefinite integral gives us a family of curve. The curves are different but they belong to a same family. Here are some symbols and their meanings. If it is written like this, we call it as integral of f with respect to x. Here fx is called as integrand and x is called as variable of integration. Integrate means we have to find the integral, and an integral of f means a function f such that its derivative is equal to this, and integration the process of finding integral, and constant is that capital C that we just discussed. Here are some properties. Derivative of integral of fx dx is equal to fx again. But if we take integral of derivative of fx, so we know we have to add this c also. If we have to take integral of k fx where k is some constant, so we can take that k outside as it is and we can integrate this function. And if we have to integrate some function like this, then we can split them and we can take their separate integration. Here is a list of formulae. Students, you have to learn it. X power n dx, this is the basic formula, main first formula. X power n plus 1 upon n plus 1. If you remember, students, in differentiation, we used to subtract the power. We used to subtract 1 from the power. Here we have to add 1 in the power and we have to divide by the same number. 1 by x dx integrate, if we do, then what is the integral? That is log x. And what was the differentiation of log x? 1 by x. So basically they are inverse of each other. Sin x minus cos x sin x, sec square x, tan x, cos x square x minus cot x, but everywhere we will have plus c. If you remember, what was the derivative of sin inverse x? 1 upon under root 1 minus x square. So here dx upon under root 1 minus x square integral will be sine inverse x plus c. So that's how, students, we have to proceed while integrating. Let's discuss few questions. Find an antiderivative or integral of this function by the method of inspection. Inspection means we only have to observe. What can you say with your experience and inspection and observation? So sine is somewhat related to cos, you know very well. So let's start with cos 2x. Derivative of cos 2x is minus 2 sine 2x. But they're asking about only sine 2x, so you take minus 2 to other side. And sine 2x is equal to derivative of minus half cos 2x, and the antiderivative of sine 2x is this only, because derivative of this is sine 2x, so antiderivative of sine 2x is this. Same way e power 2x, we know that d by dx of e power 2x is this 2e power 2x, but they are asking for only e power 2x, so we can take this 2 to other side. So it means the antiderivative of e power 2x is this thing, half e power 2x. Here, question number 10, students, in between I have left few questions. They are very simple and easy questions. Please you try yourself. We have to integrate here root x minus 1 by root x whole square. So first of all, open it by using the property a minus b whole square. Now split all the terms and integrate separately. Integration of x, what is x square? Because the power is 1, so we will add 1 in the power, so x square upon 2 1 by x integral is cos x and minus 2 as it is constant, integral of 1 is x and plus c. Sec square x upon cos x square x. Convert them into sine and cos, we will get tan square x. Again this identity that we did in class 10th. Sec square x minus 1, split them. Sec square x, what is the integral? Tan x. 1, what is the integral? X and plus c. Very simple. Question number 20, here also split the terms. 2 by cos square x means 2 sec square x. 3 sine by cos is tan and 1 by cos is sec. And 2 constant outside, sec square x integral is tan x minus 3 as it is tan x sec x integral is sec x plus c. Then what is the antiderivative of this? First of all, let's convert this root into power. So x power 1 by 2 dx plus x power minus 1 by 2 dx. Right? So now what can we do? Same way we can apply that formula, that plus 1 in the power and the same thing will come in the denominator as well. Right? In the both terms. What we have to do now? It will be reciprocal 2 by 3 x power 3 by 2 plus 2 x power 1 by 2 plus c. Don't forget to write this c. So what is the correct option? Correct option is this c part. So I hope you must have understood. Now homework for today is exercise 7.1 remaining questions. Students, please try yourself. They were very simple and easy questions. Thank you very much.